Welcome back. Sandy was the most destructive and deadliest hurricane of the 2012 season. When it hit New Jersey, it changed from a hurricane to a superstorm, but it was just as destructive. Weatherman Nick Pittman remembers it all too well.
We've had some pretty significant and memorable weather events here in New Jersey over the years. Blizzards, tropical storms, derechos, tornadoes, you name it, it's happened. One storm, though, that leaves an indelible mark in our memories and on most of our lives, to be frank, will forever be Hurricane Sandy. This weekend marks the 9-year anniversary of a storm that changed who we are. Sandy was a unique storm in structure, track, and impact. The destruction left in her path was incredible, similar to that of the 1962 nor'easter. Retired National Weather Service meteorologist Jim Eberwein was up close and personal with Sandy on the forecasting front. He explains what his experience was like and what made Sandy such an anomaly.
Getting into this time of year, you have a cold source from the north, you had a blocking high, so it was like a dam in the atmosphere that prevented the storm from moving through. It came up and it made that turn to the left. The size of it was over 600 miles, the tropical storm force winds. The wave battering in the north part of New Jersey, 37-foot waves at the buoy, which is a record that stands even today. Over $60 billion in damage. Think of that, over $60 billion Category 1, and it produced a storm tide, not a storm surge, but a storm tide that was 15 feet all the way up the East River into New York. If that storm had hit the Gulf of Mexico, people would have yawned and said, oh boy, here's just Category 1, because they've had, 4s and 5s over the last couple of years. But to us up here, it was a new experience. And it taught us a lesson. It taught us a lesson that you've got to be prepared. You've got to listen to the right folks when things are coming along like this.
To get the perspective of someone who went through and was personally impacted by Sandy, I sat down with Leslie Jesperson, who is an Atlantic County resident and experienced the storm firsthand.
This scene, when we drove back into Chelsea Heights, which is where I lived, was like something from The Walking Dead. It was so eerie. You could, everybody's belongings, their furniture is out on the curbs. I mean, piles 10 feet high of just people's life possessions. It was probably 2 full weeks after everything before we were able to actually go to our house and see what had happened. And at that point, all the mold had set in. I remember my mom taking me to Walmart and having to buy all new underwear, socks, shoes, clothes, not just for me, but for my kids, all their toys, all that material stuff, as emotionally connected to it as we are, it can all be replaced, and no matter what, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay, because I did not feel like that. I did not feel like it was gonna be okay.
No one that was around for Sandy will ever forget what it did to our region. There were many bad things that came from the storm, but also many good things as our communities came together like never before to help out fellow neighbors in need. Sandy was a sobering reminder that strong storms can and will impact our area. It's not a question of if another Sandy will happen, but a matter of when. It is my job and the job of everybody in the meteorological community to educate and prepare you for when that day does come.
Nick Pittman, Jersey Matters weather forecaster. Next on Jersey Matters.
I'm Phil Andrews, and coming up on Jersey Matters, a visit to the paranormal.